All right. Welcome, Corianna Di Julio, and thank you so much for joining us here on Friday Night Live podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you are married and mom.
Yes, I am.
Girl Sophia.
Yes.
And you're also an actress, a filmmaker, founder of Noble Wisdom Films, and co-creator of the show Stroller Moms. Wow.
You make that sound so good. Thank you. I'll say yes. I know it's not, but yes.
Oh, so tell us a little bit about that, just how you, with Noble Wisdom Films and how that got started. And
Okay. Well, Noble Wisdom actually means it's the name of my daughter's first and middle name. So that's where I came up with Noble Wisdom. And I have been independently producing, on a smaller scale for some time. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being in front of the camera, which sounds very narcissistic, but actually being behind and creating and writing and working with the actors and collaborating with the team. And I said, this year I'm going to start my own company. And I want to direct more. I directed a few smaller projects, and I just wanted to expand and start to produce, some commercials and independent, films. And so I thought moving out to, Louisville, Kentucky, that's where we're at now, and then on to Georgia, there's a little more opportunity. There's a lot of work out here, surprisingly. A lot of the jobs I did, companies I worked for were based out of the Midwest, but would shoot in LA and, New York or Miami. But I thought coming out here, I would broaden my scope and I would, make some more contacts than I have. And knock on wood, business has gotten better, of course. And now we're at a halt, but it's allowed me to continue writing and creating and work on, obviously upcoming projects that I hopefully foresee will continue on for the next year. So it was great. It's great to be your, mom boss, if you would, or business owner. And it's like sales, you're pitching every day, you're talking to people, and it's great. I love working and collaborating. I love creating, I love seeing people take a character and just bring it into life. And it's just a thrilling, fun thing for me. I really enjoy it. Yeah.
That's great. But also too, with just you being an actress and moving out back east, but you also are a daughter of a legendary coach here in our community, Coach John Monger. He's won championships during his longtime coaching career.
Yes.
And even has a stadium named after him.
Yes. Yes. Very impressive.
What was it like growing up in Coach Munger's home?
Growing up as a child, as a youth, was a lot of fun. My dad was always a lot of fun. We would always go to passing leg, and he would take us to school, and I would be able to take off a day of school to go with him. And it was wonderful. He was a lot of fun. He was very playful. He was a younger coach, obviously, to begin with. But one really fond memory I have is him. He had a little green convertible Fiat. And I don't even think it had seatbelts, but my sister and I would pile us in there with our big gulps, and we'd take that car with no seatbelts on to passing leg, and my mom would get her afternoon off. And that was like a big, the big highlight for us. But I couldn't remember a time when we didn't have players over for dinner, or they'd come over for breakfast or parties, or they would just come over, just to talk to him. And that really meant a lot to him, because I think they, not only looked at him as a mentor, but just as a friend. He was so close in age with a lot of these players, and he had such a good bond with them. And I saw that growing up. It was like obviously the kids he never had, the boys he never had. So that was fun. And coming into high school, I realized just how serious, he was about the game. And you would really see how he took the losses and the win and the losses. And for him, it was just as important with the kids to be successful off the field as well as on the field. So it's really important for them to really have good academics and focus on school, and then use this outlet of sports to whatever they're going through personally to keep it and put it on the field, and turn it into more of a positive way of handling things. So I saw that, and my dad's a very intense person, and he wants to do things right, and he's just very he's very much like, I'm very much like him, and we don't settle for anything less than the best. We want everything to be very a certain way. He's on a schedule. I'm not so much on that schedule, but I have a little more flexibility, but he's very regimented, and I think that shows in his personality. So he really expected a lot from the kids, and he wanted to give back, and that was something that I noticed a lot in high school. I loved having him there at school. I didn't have any issues with that. Carrie might have, I don't know, but I loved him. Like I could get lunch money and it was great. It didn't really bother me, I couldn't really date anybody, but no, it didn't bother me. I really enjoyed it, but I saw just how serious a person can be and how passionate if you find something you really love, and how much energy and passion you can put into it, and that's what I took from that, for what I wanted to do, so.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What was the talk? So summer of your 8th grade year, you graduated. You're ready to go to Chino High School. Dad's there, right?
Yeah.
What was like some of the preliminary talks about sister being on campus with Dad? Was there anything like that? Was there any kind of like, we got to have a talk kind of thing before you started high school?
Don't embarrass me was probably one of the ones, behave, just pass your grades. Make sure you pass your grades. Don't disrespect your teachers. And I never was. He knew I was not that kid anyway. But I don't think he was too worried per se. I think he just enjoyed knowing that my sister she was a senior and I was coming into being a freshman. And he liked having us under that roof. And I think it talks about getting the car once you got a little older. Then it became like the independence. But I remember being a freshman and having to go home and having him give me a ride all the time. And sometimes players had to take me home, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like, I just remember like kids would be coaching or whatever, and I'd have a player, a friend. But that was kind of like, it was real brief. It was like, don't do this, don't do this, do this, do this. And that's it. And it was just,
Well, you and your sister had to be the safest girls on campus.
Yes.
Protected by the team, by your dad. I mean, walking around with a security guard.
Oh gosh, status, huh? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So, high school, just kind of going through that. You mentioned a little bit about his character and his work ethic, and how did you see him differently from being at home, if there was a difference, than being at school? Like when you bumped into school, when you went at lunch, or after he was already at work, you were at school. Was it a little bit different, or was he the same kind of guy?
Yeah. I think there was a difference. I think there's a level of professionalism. Obviously, you're a teacher, you're a coach. He couldn't look at me as just one of his, students. I'm also his daughter. So there's a fine line between the two. And there couldn't be a lot of, oh, you can't get away with this, or if you did do something or you were late, I can't really be there to back you up. I mean, there's only so much I can do. So be responsible. And at home, he was obviously my dad, more playful, and except during the season, he was very serious, and it was all football, and it was a very, very focus. And I need to do this. And he just expected us to do what we needed to do and to behave. And I had my sister, she was a big crutch for me as well, and was very hopeful. So yeah, she was very, very much the mother hen, I should say.
She's great. I love her.
Yeah, she's fun.
Did your dad watch a lot of film on Sundays at home?
Yes, he did. He watched a lot of film. But he also was also a family person. So he, when it was time to vacation and time to spend time with the family, he would take us out. It was usually sports related, funny enough, basketball, or, that's miniature golf, something to do with a little bit of sports related. And we'd go, to Dana Point for the day, and my mom, and we really enjoyed. So he did, he was able to delineate, obviously separate himself from football, but, he would constantly have the players and the parents were calling him. He allowed that. He welcomed that into our home. So that was such a big part of his life. So it was hard to kind of steer away or separate yourself completely when you're at home, as you may know. They rely on you.
Yeah,
and,
I have the same thing. Open door policy.
Open door policy, yeah.
Yep.
And that's part of it. That's part of being a mentor, being a coach, and a leader. You expect that, and it's knowing that you're inspiring these kids. And I would go back to Chino to this day, and we, for family, gatherings, and people go, Coach, oh my God. And I thought, this is like 20 years. This just happened during the Christmas season. We were down in Chino, and we were at the French Central Basco having our annual family dinner, Christmas dinner, which I love. You guys are very familiar with that. As we were exiting, a kid from school, not a kid, an adult, actually approached him and said, Coach, and I can't remember his name for the life of me, but said, I just want to thank you. I remember how much you did for me and my family, and I thought, oh, it's right back into that circle of,
that's great.
being in that smaller town and having, people recognize you and appreciate the little things that you did for them.
And that's what's so great about coaches is you're impressionable on these.
Yes.
And we don't know what's going on home. And so it's, your example and what you require of them on the field and off the field is what sits with them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what was one of your favorite high school memory with you being in high school and your dad coaching and teaching there on campus?
I don't know if it was a favorite, but I'll try to think more funny than favorite. Well, this was, I think, my senior year, and aside from obviously I was on homecoming court, my dad walking me down, it was so funny just to see the pressure of that night with the rain and the dismissal. I think he might have been down come halftime, and he had to get on the court, walk me. It was raining, get in, get out, and he was so discombobulated because you got players drawing you in. You got to talk to them about the next plays and what you're going to do, and you got to prep talk them. Then you got to tell me you look beautiful, you did a good job, your mom's here, I know that, and then you got to go back. And it's so funny. He did it so quickly, and he just had such poise. He came on and did it, and he walked out, and I could just see him. He's very intense and hyper, but he's got an inner calmness about him where when he needs to be still, he's still. And it was so funny for that 5 minutes. And I just I'm seeing it. And it's just so funny that you've got that in you, Dad. Just a little bit more. You've got that in you. And he walked out. And once we were done, it was like he was out of there.
Yeah, running.
Love you. Congratulations. On to the next. I've got to do. I was like, I don't need you now. I've got it. I'm good.
How crazy was that week? Because as listeners, I don't know if they know this, but we went to high school together.
Yes.
I was years younger, but. Yes. Yeah. That week of homecoming is crazy because they have themes every day and you've got to dress up and you have lunchtime activities. I mean, how was that for you and your dad's coaching and in films every lunch? Because remember the football players, they always do films at lunch.
Yes, they do films at lunch. It's a very serious thing, and you bring your lunch in there. That was crazy. I think my dad he was involved in the sense of he was allowing it to, he knew that was going to unfold. It was going to be busy, but he was so focused on the game and the players that I felt that he knew I had this. I was confident within myself, and not about winning or anything. It was just about having fun, and I thrive off of this stuff. I was like ASB president. I live for social stuff. Mm-hmm. If I could just get A's in social, being a socialite, God forbid, I love it. And I don't even drink or anything. I love just to be around people. And so I was like, you want to wake me up at 5 a.m. with no makeup on and bring me to Denny's? Bring it on, I mean, it sucked, but, and it just was so fun. It was like, and so he was so focused on that I had my own thing going on, and I'm okay with it. I'm very independent that way, and I enjoyed it. I knew he'd be there to walk me down. That was the most important. But that week was crazy.
Well, and that's huge because for a coach to take that moment during halftime to come and walk his daughter down, which it's a big moment, and that's very important. But that really just shows his heart. And at the end of the day, he knows exactly what matters most. And so that's so neat to hear that he did that. So
The moment, I'm sure he just relished in that. Second of those 5 minutes.
5 minutes. And my memory erases me. I have to look through stuff and look at Instagram, Facebook, and go, oh yeah. Sometimes you just forget things, and I had to ask him. I had to make sure I knew some things about that night, and he knew, he knew 100%, what went on, and that made me feel good. I thought, okay, still, very much a big part of his life too. So
that's great.
And in talking about that night, and you said it was raining, I did get a chance to talk to Coach Monger a little bit and mentioned that night, and he said it was pouring rain night, and it was going to be a thing where homecoming could have been affected. It could have been sets and move him in the gym. I mean, it was going to be a crazy event.
Sure.
And he remembers it like it was yesterday. He said that in first quarter, second quarter pouring, the officials came up to him and said, Coach, lightning was striking, right? When lightning strikes, we got to get everybody inside. So they were saying, we may have to call this, kind of thing. And your dad was explaining it to me like, this is homecoming. Like, you understand what's happening here. I don't think he meant per se, but he knew how important that night was for him. Not just because obviously you were on the court and all of that, but he said, you know, right before halftime or right at halftime, he said the rain just stopped. It just broke.
Yes.
They cleared up. They didn't have to move it inside. They kept it going. And he got through the ceremony, and then right after the ceremony, it kind of started raining again. But they finished the game and all that.
Yeah.
And he said this to me, Corey, and this was such a sweet, endearing thing, is that, you know, a year before that, you had lost your mom. Mm-hmm. He said, I know she was up there looking down. She was talking to God, like, Lord, make this a special night. Stop that.
Yes.
Let them have this moment. And I thought that was the sweetest thing. That happened at that moment for you both to enjoy that night. So it wasn't crazy. It wasn't missed, or it wasn't postponed or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that must have been emotional. That had to be a little emotional, even though your dad was in the moment of football and you were in the moment of homecoming and all. There had to be a time where you both talked about that and reflected about how it would have been wonderful to have there. To just talk a little bit about that whole year. That would have been your junior year, right?
Yes. Kind
of take us through that time.
Yes, that was, you know, she had been sick prior to that. And I think I was so young, I really wasn't aware as much of, obviously, the illness. When you're that young, you just see when your parents are sick, you think they're sick, they have a cold, they're going to bounce back and things are going to get better. And things have evolved and developed throughout the years. Obviously, things have changed throughout, obviously, people with illnesses, cancer, or breast cancer. But back then, they were very limited. So when she was sick the first time, you know, she was 32 years old. And then it came back when she was 38. And, you know, I think I'm in my 40s now, and she was 38 years old, having 2 children. My dad was coaching, and she was very, very much a vibrant, active person. Them together were like a very sparkling couple. They had a lot of friends. Again, very socially, like similar. They loved having people over. She loved the game. She was a big supporter of the game. And that was just to see her get sick, and she fell hard. After, you know, a couple years came by, it was about maybe 4 years later after she passed. And that was just for me, I was 16. It was more of a shock. Because I remember going downstairs and giving her a kiss goodnight. She slept downstairs, and the next day, that's when she had passed. And I think I was still coming into terms of who I was as a teenager. And my dad coaching, and my sister obviously in college, and dealing with this, and you know, everyone deals with it in their own way. And I would have liked to see my dad connect a bit more with us, but I think he was dealing with it in his own way, and I had to respect that. And I had to deal with it my own way. And I still to this day, God bless her, she's been with me. So very special moments just like that on the field. And I'm very spiritual, and I believe in God. I pray every night, and I really believe these people stay with you, and they never leave you. And they come up in your dreams, they come up in certain things in your life, especially when you need them the most, and they're always there. There's that strong connection, but you got to keep that love for them, and you got to talk about them. You got to talk about them. There's nothing embarrassed or shy having to say about it. But that was a tough time for my dad, because he retreated a lot, and you know, he had to still put that face on, and for me, I did too. But you know, you just keep going on, and you just kind of put it in your back pocket for a little bit, and you continue on, and you graduate, and you do what you need to do, and but then you bring that memory out again, and it comes back, and then you put it back in the pocket. And it's really until I was maybe late 20s, 30s, I think I started to really get it and understand and accept it. So yeah. So
healing takes time. And there
it does. It
guidebook
really does.
as to how you do it. It happens in the way it happens to you. Yeah. Okay. Oh.
And he's, you know, my dad, God bless him, he visits her obviously all the time. And my stepmother, Wanda, which you should know, is wonderful and very supportive. And she is grandma, and a wonderful grandma she is. And, you know, she was supportive at the games with him, and very much into football. I mean, she loved it. I thought, gosh, this is dad. You know, it wasn't a replacement. It was a new person to share his life, a new journey that he had. And she's been wonderful. And you know, my mom is my mom, and she is my stepmom, and I love her you know, all the same. And she's been wonderful. And it's just things happen and they unfold for, you know, reasons. And here we are, you know.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. We're just going to change gears a little bit.
Sure.
We just touch on you coming from little old Chino, Inland Empire, Southern California. And like we mentioned, an actress, a writer, producer, director, co-creator of Stroller Moms. Did you always know that you wanted to be in show business?
I did. I really did. My dad was, you know, you speak what you're not familiar with, right? You speak, you know, and he, and you learn from certain things. And I think my dad was just he's very, very specific in his way of life, and anything outside of that was intimidating. And it's entertainment, of course, for anybody. And, you know, I started at 21 and had my first agent, and things were going well. And I was just very immature and took a few detours, did a business for about 8 years and sold it, came back to it in my late 20s, early 30s, and started doing theater and thought, now I'm ready. I'm physically ready. I'm mature. And it's fun. It's so fun because there's moms, there's parents, dads are bringing their kids to auditions. And then you start to go, this is doable. These are parents. These parents behind the camera, everyone has a family. You know, they're all doing it. This is just a career. It's just a way. It's another way to make, you know, an income. It's just another way. And you can't pick a harder business to be into. I have to say that. And I have had some great moments. I've had some really good moments. And obviously your ultimate goal is to get a series and be on that series. And I think meeting my husband, he was obviously working as an actor. And he said, I'm not going to sacrifice my life with other jobs because I'm out here to do one thing. It's to act. And whether I have to take a fall, be broke, or do this is who I am. This is who you're going to marry. And you want to go in for the long haul, you know, we can do it. But you got to believe in yourself. Seek first thy own opinion of yourself. And then you'll do what you want to do. And don't just push everything out. Have fun with it. And that's what I've been having. It's been such a journey. It's so fun. Awesome. It's so fun.
What was your first gig as an actress? What was your first call?
My first gig, aside from theater, which was great, that was stage, I got a discount tire commercials. I'll never forget it. And it aired everywhere. People go, and I got paid pennies for it. And they put me on a news feed. It was a print job, but I went in there and I had to do a cold reading, and I just did. She kept saying, try not to do a salesy pitch. I went, okay. And of course, what I do is salesy pitch, you know, and I thought, oh, book this silly job. And it was just, you know, a couple lines of each actor. And it was so exciting just to be on set. You know, there's 20 people, they're doing your makeup. You got to stay still. They're giving you an apple box and all that stuff. And you're like, this is great. And I'm watching the director more. I'm interested. I'm like, what's he doing? Like, what's his business all about? You know, who cares about what I got to do? I want to watch what he has to do. You know, that was my interest. I was like, he's got the job, you know. But I remember leaving my apartment in Los Angeles. This is when I was engaged. And I stepped on a piece of paper, and that paper was me in an ad for discount tires. It was like a crumpled up paper. I thought, oh, okay, it was like a side. Here's your little spot you did, you know. You're not famous, but here's your little spot you did. So that was fun. And then, you know, I'm still nervous. I'm still, you know, I did a big one this last year for a car commercial that I actually helped cast. And I was actually interviewing moms and families, and that was the best part. It was casting. I loved it. And they said the other cast director said, hey, put yourself, you know, put yourself in this spot. I just want you to just send the tape for yourself. I said, okay. They ended up casting me. And it was just like, it was so fun. And it was like, you walked in there and the director just said, you know, get in the car. I'm going to read you the lines. I thought, this is cake. This is what you drain, these union spots. That you're going to feed the lines. And I'm going to be done in 20 minutes. And I'm still watching the actor. So it's still fun just being on set and collaborating with people and seeing the different roles that takes to do this. And it's, you know, you see the final product, you know, you never want to see yourself on TV, like, but you just, it's just fun. The other parts are fun. That's what I enjoy the most. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. What's first theater gig?
Oh, first theater gig was with a company in Los Angeles who was directed and led by actor Tony Plana. Now, Tony Plana was in Ugly Betty. He was the dad. He played the dad in Ugly Betty. He's like a veteran actor, kind of a character actor. So he took this theater company. It was for inner city kids. And if you did 5 shows, you were in the equity. This guy said, hey, you got 5 more shows, you're going to be in the union. I thought, that's it? It was great. It was Romeo, Zoot Suit, Romeo and Juliet. That's what the name was. And we were able to tour. We went to Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. and Denver and different places. Yeah, so it was so much fun. I was more of a partner dancer and a couple lines, but that was the extent of it. But it was just so much fun. I mean,
that's great.
You know, it's the rehearsals and watching other actors. I was working with some professional actors who really were working quite a bit, but this is like they were doing the side gig, and which was helping kids out and these, you know, these shows and stuff. But it was just great. It was just, it's still, everything's new to me every time. Like, you know, like I'm always just kind of like listening. I just want to listen and find out.
Well, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating.
It is fun. Yeah.
Always wanted to be an actor, huh? That was
something
you always wanted to do.
If I wasn't teaching and coaching, that was plan B.
He was actually in a Nike commercial way back when.
You did? Okay, so you got to tell us about this Nike commercial. Okay. That's a big name.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big deal. I kind of coattailed it off a roommate of mine. So we were out of college. We were actually, it was Korean senior year. It was 96. So I was 2 years out of college, still pretty much. I was still in shape. I still had a little bit of football body. So we're living with some guys in San Dimas, and one of my roommates had an agent at the time, and so he called looking for my roommate. My other roommate answered the phone and said, "No, he's not here." And he says, "Can I take a message?" And he says, "Yeah, this is so-and-so from this agency. We're looking for some ex-college football players to come do a commercial." He goes, "Oh, that's funny."
Wow.
My other roommate is an ex-college football player. And the guy on the phone's like, "Bring him down."
Bring him down.
So
perfect.
We go down to a park in LA somewhere, and we do a tryout. My roommate, who was a quarterback in college, and me, I was a receiver. So, and my other roommate, who was a basketball player, he jumped on. He's going out, right? He's going to go check it out.
Hey, why not, right?
So we did some football drills. We probably spent about an hour down there just doing some different movements. They just wanted to see us move and see if we could, walk and chew gum and be in this commercial. I got a call back.
You got it?
My roommate that had the agent did not. I felt kind of bad about it. We still laugh about it.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm on a
Chris, that happens. I'm telling you. If you do some stories,
it's crazy. So I was giddy. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. 3-day shoot at East LA College and the Coliseum for coming out that fall. The NFL is going to be promoting it. So I got to put on a Miami, Indiana. Yeah, it was
Indianapolis Colts. Oh, wow. Okay.
Indianapolis Colts uniform, helmet. So I got to live my dream of being an NFL.
Yes. In a commercial. NFL, yes.
Yeah.
And
wait, so do you have the
Jerry Stiller?
Yeah.
You met Jerry Stiller too.
Oh, you did? Oh, God bless Jerry Stiller.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
He was Vince Lombardi in this series. And it's called The Spirit of Nike Football. So it was all about going back to the past, the days of old in NFL. And so he played Vince Lombardi, and I got to meet him, chat with him. I had no lines. I was just a body, right? But I got to converse with, one of Hollywood's greatest. And
huge.
Big treat for me. I had a blast doing it. And
oh my gosh.
A picture of me today, just, in my Colts uniform.
You guys have to post that.
That's my little story right there.
But that's a good story. That's football related story. And wait, do you have the footage? Did you ever get the footage from it?
We can't find it. I looked on YouTube and everything, and I can't find it. Yeah. I don't know.
There actually is. I think there's a part of one of the commercials. There was it was like a 3 or 4 series commercial, and I think my part wasn't on there, but I kept. I went back and I asked the company, and obviously they said, "Oh, you can't have all that stuff." That so at that time I was like pumped up. I was looking for my card. I was like, I want to be a primary guy. I want a line. I want paid. I want.
Oh my gosh! But it's funny when your podcast gets huge.
Thank you.
They're gonna find that footage. Oh, I'm all about the law of attraction. They're gonna find that footage. And you're going to be on they're going to be interviewing you guys on like Fallon or something. And then all of a sudden they're going to go, hang on a minute. let's cut to a clip when Chris was just out of college or kid college.
That's gonna be awesome.
With the Indianapolis Colts, you know,
Yeah.
that's what they do. And you're like, where the heck do you find this footage?
Where did that
Man.
happen?
Well,
Oh man.
I know. I've been trying to look because I thought it would be fun to bring it up for like Chris's birthday or something.
Oh, it would be so
snag a
cool.
copy, but I don't know. I mean, but anyway.
I could try to look at. I mean, if you send me an email, some information on it, I might be able to try to look it up because it's.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
We always search, and sometimes you find it on some random sites. Like it's the site. I have no idea the site is, but it's up there somewhere. Yeah. Sometimes you find. Yeah, because we've had to go searching. Like I know something's up there.
All right, I might be emailing you.
Yeah, but mark my word, it might pop up when you guys get interviewed. It'll pop up. Someone will find it and go, let's go back to a clip. You know.
Here he is. Oh man.
That's so
Anyway,
cool.
well, thanks for that, Corey.
Yeah. Hey.
Amnesia Lane for
I know.
It's so funny when you get these like these commercials, things, and that yours was a big deal. Obviously, you had a very iconic actor that was, in your scene. When you're in these spots, it's just, you feel like the world is your oyster and you're like this. And then once you're done, they're like, it's been real. Nice knowing you. Your paycheck's in the mail.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yes.
Until the next one, you're like, oh, okay. You just want to hold on to that memory. You're like, move on. So you just kind of, like a cold fish. And then it's like, okay, well, that moment was fun.
I was asking if I could keep helmets, jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. They just kind of did that. They were kind of like, thank you. We'll get back to you, but no.
Yeah. Go get some snacks from Cross Services, and that's basically it.
Free snacks, all you can eat.
Oh my gosh!
Really quick, tell us about Stroller Moms.
Stroller Moms is going to be an online comedy, and it's based on 4 couples. 3 of the couples have kids, and 1 couple who plays my neighbor has a dog, and spoiled dog, and it goes through different stages of life, of pre and post-marital life. And obviously when they were single, I think my favorite episode is our flashback episode. It shows how my best friend gets together with my brother. That's who she ends up marrying, which drives me crazy. And then how I'm done, doing the walk of shame and meeting all these deadbeats. I finally find the man of my dreams, follows me into my Zumba class. But there's so many fun moments, and these are based off of real situations. I would take strolls with my daughter. And in Toluca, I was living in Toluca Lake, Burbank area at the time. Not sure if you're familiar with that area.
Yes.
And I would walk by Steve Carell's house. You probably know Steve Carell, and I'd shoot my diaper in front of his lawn just because I had to do it. The neighbors were like, no problem. But I would base it off of these fun, these just walks. It was my time, and I would just think of all this stuff, and I'd go to the park, and things would just come up, and I would start to base it off of real scenarios, and that's just. And I said, I have to develop the series, and it comes from both male and female perspective. So it's my husband co-wrote it, and he's very gifted comedically. So it's kind of a cross between The League, which is was on FX. I don't know if you've ever seen that, The League, and Catastrophe, which was on Amazon Prime. So it has that kind of moment, and it's just fun, and we got a wonderful cast, and we've teamed up with Susan G. Komen of Los Angeles, because all of our funds that we've raised, we're going to give them a percentage back, and that's in memory of my mother. So I wanted to do something, on that, and it's great. We knock on wood, had a budget for the fall, and unfortunately it fell through, which happens in Hollywood. Hollyweird as they call it all the time, but we're kind of circling back. We've been out for a while, and we're just doing a lot of collaborations with other parents, and we have a lot of wonderful sponsors, and we're just going to continue and try to get it out there, and hopefully you'll see it on Netflix or something in a year to come. We're putting it out there, so it's funny. Yeah.
Well,
so
that's fantastic.
Right.
Well, we're excited.
Yes.
I know a little bit about the Stroller Mom stories.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and I can't wait to showcase your story, your stories. I'm so excited. We were off for Stroller Moms, like I said, for a while. We were doing other projects. And because of that budget situation, it was kind of a sting. And I thought I just needed to step back and work on some other stuff, and I'll circle back with it. And that's what I did. And I said, during this quarantine time, why don't I, work and collaborate with other parents and share stories, that some real stories, not just stories that are, scripted, but real stories. And, it's a slow start. We're just doing putting some fun, content out there so parents can, some relatable content. And yours is going to be one of them, talking about your triple scoop. So, and I have a question for you guys. Did you know, is there triplets in your family? Is this, there's no triplets.
Twins.
Yeah,
there's
multiple.
twins.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so Chris, but we did in vitro.
Oh.
So we did in vitro. Yeah,
Wow.
we struggled for, Chris and I were married, 10 years, before we had the trips.
Yep.
But
Wow.
6 years.
Yeah,
struggled with fertility.
Really trying for 6 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we didn't, we kept going back and forth, so we ended up getting tested, and then we found out that we could not together.
Okay.
Control. So then we went to the fertility doctor, and then we tried the base,
Turkey baster.
the turkey baster. Or horrible. But you know what I mean.
Yes.
Try it.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I can't remember. It's like utero. I don't even know what it's called.
Oh my gosh.
UTI or something like that.
Yes.
And that did not work. So then we had to go to in vitro. And so we just decided that, because we went with the doctor and we just kind of prayed about it. And we were like, what do we do? And we just said, okay, we want to implant 3. And he was like, well, your chances are very low. And we said, well, that's just the number God gave us. We're going to just pray.
Yep.
And all 3
And that's what
matter of fact, actually, one of the babies didn't make it.
Yep.
So, not all 3 implanted. So one didn't make it, and will split.
Yep.
And then, so they're identical.
Yep.
the girls are,
The girls are
Yes.
identical.
Yes.
And so then obviously Kai's fraternal.
Yeah.
So if the other one
wow.
had quad,
Oh my
Quads.
gosh.
Maybe more.
That
My
is
hair would
amazing. Yeah. I just felt like just the one baby and then pushing the stroller with the 3. And then the dog. I'm thinking the dog's got to go to the bathroom. The kid's got to take a walk. One wants a snack. One wants to go to the bathroom. And then you're like, then you feel like you're a terrible mom because your voice volume changes with, because I have a 6-year-old.
Oh yeah.
She got the coach's voice.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you have to have the
Right?
coach's voice.
You know how
The
like
dads are
you
calm.
you envision yourself and maybe like, I'm gonna be this calm mom. Oh no. It's like, get that, we gotta. Yeah, but
What's that? What was
I
the
was
thing?
just gonna say, when the kids were little, like babies, infants, I was thinking about sharing this story too. I've had like a couple of stories, but
Oh yeah, please.
I know, but I was like, no, I got to tell them about the 50 million strollers that we had, because it was how many strollers we had. But when the babies were little, it took us, I would say like 2 hours to get ready to go on a walk.
Yeah.
Because by the time I got them dressed and I changed their diapers, and then we had to feed them because, they ate every 3 months. And then by it was like one pooped or peed, and then we had to change them. And then it was like a triple effect. So by the time we all got, it was like 2 hours. I remember the first time we took them on a walk, I was exhausted. And I was like, I'm exhausted to go on a walk.
You maybe circle down the driveway and then come out and be like, we're good.
You're like,
I think we're good. Yeah. I know from having one, and I would wanting more, and I unfortunately haven't been able to have any. And I thought, well, maybe, and I thought my friends, I had maybe 4 friends in their 40s, and one of them is in her late 40s. They're like, hey, look at me, I'm having my 2nd baby. I'm like, oh my God. You're just thinking this, and I have friends 42, 44, 45, they're having 2nd babies and beautiful, healthy babies. I'm thinking, well, I could do what, I got to eat more greens and if I did that in vitro, my husband's like, if you do that in vitro, we come out with like 4 kids, it's going down. We're going to, pull our hair out. And God bless our beautiful daughter, Sophia. She's very much an introvert, but she's also an extrovert, and she's very strong-willed, and we just love that about her, and very opinionated, but very kind and just a genuine little person, and we just love her to pieces. And she asked, gosh, if I had a sibling or 2 or 3, I thought, how old do you think mommy is? So I always looked at your triple scoop. I thought, and my sister goes, yes, that's her 3. She calls them triple scoop. I go, I already know all this, Carrie. We're friends. We have friends on Instagram. I know Triple Scoop. I did a video of that. You know, I just love
Carrie's
it.
been
And
great. We
Yeah.
love,
you guys see them a lot, like bump into, because you were at Chino Hills and
We did when Chris was coaching at Chino Hills, and
yes.
which one of, I can't remember which one of her sons that was on the probably team. He played
Oh,
for
Kai
you.
Riker.
Oh,
Riker.
yeah.
Riker,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So Riker was on the team, and then
And Kyle was just transitioning out. He was there on campus with me for a while, so I got to hang out with Kyle for a little bit before he went over to Roosevelt.
Okay.
And then his son came in. I coached him for the last couple of years, and
my
just got to know the
gosh.
family really well. And
Oh, great.
Wonderful support and great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yes.
yeah, so that's good. I had to ask you guys, you know, the story, but you know, sister, she's been in Chino pretty much all her life, or Chino Hills, and I've been the one so I circle back and I go, is that so and so? And I have to double check, and she goes, mm-hmm. You know, I'm just curious because I've been out so long, and I come back, is this really that? But she was like, oh, that's Corinne. I go, I know that. We know, we're friends, girl. We went to school together. You know, I got you from school, you know. That is such a sweet story. I just wanted to ask because I thought that was so,
Well, thanks, Corinne.
Well, a lot of people do ask. And that was so funny because remember when I mentioned in the video how
yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
That was what it was always the question.
Yes.
Did you are they triplets? Yes. Did you have them naturally?
Yes.
So
I wanted to hear, but yes.
And I'm like, and I don't mind talking about our story at all, but it was just like complete strangers, and we're talking about fertility, which then it's so funny because then it spearheaded other conversations about their, you know, either they knew someone that went through infertility, like a daughter, because we always had like a lot of grandparents. One time, no joke, and
gosh,
sister-in-law Brianna was cracking up. We went there. And it so happened that my sister-in-law came with me. The trip was probably like 1, and I happened to go with Chris's sister and his mom visits around my mother-in-law's birthday at that when we the 6th of September, and when the LA Fair comes to Pomona. So anyway, we're walking around, and an older couple comes up and asks, because I think I had the choo-choo wagon at that time, and they start asking, you know, are they triplets? So then we start talking. No joke, a half an hour later, this woman is crying. I'm crying, and she's telling me about a story about how she was a twin and her twin died, and how she, to this day, feels her.
Oh, yes, I'm sure.
So it was, I'm crying. She's like, my sister-in-law Brianna is crying. And there's been like multiple stories where like people even like
shared their stories.
I know. So I always laugh. The kids are like,
how sweet,
and how you're saying being social. My kids are social, and I don't even think they mean to be. And they in turn bring that socialization on us because conversations with strangers. But it's so sweet. It's such a blessing.
So sweet.
We're very open with our story and what we've gone through, and so it's not anything like embarrassing, or I don't mind talking.
And no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's I mean, and people, you know, obviously living in Los Angeles, people were getting in vitro. That was a big thing, especially in Hollywood. People they wanted twins and this and that. A lot of people are just, we can't have, we're trying to have children. We want to have children. And it inspires other parents, you know, to look into other options. And, you know, I was inspired just to, you know, obviously ask you, and I appreciate you sharing that with me, because it is a wonderful story. It's a very unique story. You don't meet a lot of people that have triplets, twins, but not triplets. And they just look so fun. The three of them are just, they seem like they're so close. You know, they're sensing each other magnetically, like, oh, you're in the other room. What are you doing? And I can see like spider senses.
The girls do in particular. And it's so
I'm sure.
Because, they do know, and they know how to read each other. Mostly when they know that they're annoying each other. Because they come off, I'm like, I don't think she's doing that. And then our son will be like, no, she's saying that, because
he chimes in, yes.
They sense it. They just know.
Yes, they do.
Anyway, Corianna, thank you so much for
You're welcome. Yes.
To just talk with you. It's been so many years.
I know.
We've talked, so thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And best of luck with Stroller Moms.
Thank you.
Keep our eyes open for
Let's see that on Netflix.
I know. Let's see it. It's we might be bringing some other real parents in to share some stories, and some former actors too.
that'd be
You know,
awesome.
so we'll see. You know, we're it's all, you know, everything's up and down in this business. So
Yeah.
you know, just gotta stay full of
You
us.
got
God bless you guys. Stay
God
well.
bless you,
and
Corey.
Thank you so much.
And
I really
tell-
appreciate having me on.
Thank you. And tell your hubby thank you for letting us snag you for an hour.
Oh, he's
Over there, so-
he was putting the little one to bed. You
Well, thank you again.
guys.
All right,
Have
take
a good
care.
night.
All right,
Okay.
Bye, Corey.
Bye-bye.